The November tour is around the corner where the Springboks will play Scotland, England and Wales, but how should Rassie Erasmus pick the squad to tour in November? Now I've picked a 33-man squad. Obviously this could vary. Rassie Erasmus might actually take more players, maybe 38 or 39, but I'm going to base this off a 33-man squad. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button, leave this video a like, and as always drop your opinions down in the comments of guys you disagree that shouldn't be going and guys that potentially should be going. Now it is a little bit interesting because we're not sure exactly when Rassie Erasmus is going to announce the squad. It's still about a month till that first game against Scotland. There's still a couple of URC rounds, so maybe he'll wait off a little bit to just see what kind of form guys are in and whether he wants to bring some new guys into the squad. But starting off with the props. Now I don't think too much is going to change here. I've made one change to the sides that face New Zealand and Australia and Argentina in the Rugby Championship, but you can't go without Oxencha and France Malherbe. Those two are a must. They have to go overseas. You're going to get scrum penalties. France Malherbe is an absolute diesel tractor. Ox has shown that he can carry the ball in game as well and get over the gain line and be a real threat carrying that ball. I'm also going to go to Thomas du Toit and Gerrit Steenkamp. Now Gerrit Steenkamp had a great game over the weekend for the Bulls against Ulster. Him and Volko Low absolutely destroyed that Ulster pack, and I think Volko Low's hand could potentially also be up for someone who could go on this tour. I just don't know if they would select him based on him not being selected in the Rugby Championship. It's going to be interesting to see if Rassie Erasmus is going to experiment a little bit more with these final 3 tests away from home, or if he's going to sort of stick to the squad that he's been building so far this year. Then the final 2 props I'm going to add into this squad is Vincent Koch and Mchunu, both of them from the Sharks, which means that Steven Kitshoff, Volko Low, and Jan-Hendrik Wessels misses out for me. I think we saw some good things from Jan-Hendrik Wessels, but I just want to see Mchunu get another shot in a Springbok jersey. I thought he's been playing some good rugby for the Sharks. He's a big scrummager. He'll be somewhat of an impact player coming off of that bench. Yes, Jan-Hendrik Wessels does have that utility to play hooker as well as prop, but I think that the team that we'll take will have enough players that we don't need that sort of utility from Jan-Hendrik Wessels. So yeah, let me know if you guys think Jan-Hendrik Wessels should make it. I personally think we should pick Mchunu over Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Then moving into the hookers, I've only picked 3 hookers, and I think this is pretty nailed on. Malcolm Marx, Bongi Mbonambe and Johan Grobbler. Now you could argue that Andre Hugo Venter could be called up there as well. Joseph Dweba for the Stormers. There's not too many hookers at the moment that I would sort of bring in. Malcolm Marx and Bongi Mbonambe are 2 best hookers. Bongi's probably going to start. Malcolm's probably going to come off the bench. Then Johan Grobbler is there for sort of backup. We saw him being used against Australia. I think he did come on against Argentina as well in a game. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Malcolm Marx and Bongi Mbonambe are definitely our 2 go-to men, which is again why I think we can afford to leave Jan-Hendrik Wessels at home and give him Mchunu a shot in a Springbok jersey. So I'm only going to go with 3 hookers. Then into the locks, and now this is another massive talking point, because do we take 3 locks? Do we take 4 locks? We've seen that we've been able to just use 3 locks. Yes, Rassie Erasmus has called up guys like Nicholas Janssen van Rensburg. Salman Murat has been making a couple of appearances in a Springbok jersey, but I realistically think we only need 3 locks in the Springbok squad because we have Pieter-Steph du Toit, because we have the likes of Ulrich Loh and Ben Jason Dixon, who are sort of those utility forwards that can be used as a flank 8th man or even a lock. Franco Mostert, I'm not sure if he's going to be fit for this November tour. There hasn't been any news about that. I would assume not, because he did fracture his leg. So I'm not too sure if he's going to be up and running. Jean Klein, there also hasn't been much word on him. Salman Murat is another option, but I just don't think he quite is up to the standard. He probably is going to go, but for me, in a 33-man squad where we're picking 3 locks, I'm not going to pick Salman Murat, which means that my 3 locks are Eben Etzebeth, Ruan Nokia, who was phenomenal and I think one of the finds of the season for the Springboks, and then Archie Snyman, who has now played, he's playing for Leinster and he is now fit again. I think we'll probably start the likes of Eben Etzebeth and Ruan Nokia, and then have RG Snyman on the bench, with Pieter-Steph du Toit potentially having to fill in that lock if either Eben or Ruan Nokia have to come off due to injury. So those are the 3 locks that I'm going to pick. And then into the loose forwards, because we don't pick a fourth lock, we can add an extra loosie, which I think for a South African game plan is vital, and I think it gives us an opportunity to experiment with a player that maybe hasn't got any Springbok experience yet. So let's get through the loose forwards that are definitely going to go. Siya Kolisi, Pieter-Steph du Toit, Jasper Visser, Kwagga Smith is a must, Marco van Staden. So that's 5, and then we have 3 places left. I do think Ben Jason Dixon will go, because like I said, he's sort of that Pieter-Steph-esque type of player, can play 7, can also fit into lock. I do think Ulrich Loh is going to go. I think the combination between him and Jasper Visser in the Rugby Championship, one of them starting, one of them coming off of the bench, was very, very impactful and very good. And Ulrich Loh just had a phenomenal game against Ulster and was really that enforcer for the Bulls in that game. He also played 7, which is an interesting call because Ulrich Loh again then provides that utility of 7, 8 lock, is a very versatile player. And then for that final spot, you could go Pepsi Buthelezi, you could go Mpilo Gumede. Frankie Horn had a great game against Edinburgh over the weekend. JC Pretorius, Evan Ruiz, I'm not sure if he's fit at the moment, but I would give Cameron Hanekom a shot in the green and gold. Look, I think he's definitely one for the future. This will give him a lot of experience going over with the team, not even if he plays, just if he goes over and sort of experiences what it's like to go to the UK and play 3 test matches away from home. Cameron Hanekom was absolutely phenomenal for the Bulls against Ulster. He steals a lot of balls. He's extremely agile. He's a very, very good 8th man. And I think he provides something different to that of Ulrich Loh, Jasper Visser and Kwagga Smith, in that he's almost like a RG Snyman and Jasper Visser in the same sort of player. That's the kind of makeup that Cameron Hanekom has. It's quite a controversial call to bring him up. He hasn't had a cap for the Springboks yet, but I do think it's wise to sort of get him into the Springbok system as early as we can. So that's how I see the forwards lining up in the squad. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with those selections? Would you add a couple of extra guys or take a couple of guys away? Then into the back line, and this is where I think it's a little bit more straightforward, and because we have sort of these set players in this position that we've been working with since June or July this year. So scrum offs, I'm going to pick 3 scrum offs. Grant Williams, I think he will be back from injury. Obviously, he got that knock on his arm, which took him out of that Australia test, which is why Maureen van den Berg came in. But I think Grant Williams will be fit, and I do think when he's fit, he's our best scrum off at the moment. I'm going to go with Jaden Hendrickse, who was phenomenal against Argentina, was good for the Sharks over the weekend, and I think he's just going to grow in confidence. And then I do think we'll probably bring in Kobus Reinach just for a little bit of experience in that squad. A lot of people are asking where's Faf de Klerk. I've searched, I'm not too sure when he's going to be back. There was a report at the end of August saying that he still has a bit of niggles in his thigh, so I don't think he'll be back for this November tour, and I don't think Rassie Erasmus wants to rush Faf back into the Springbok lineup. And then obviously Maureen van den Berg just misses out of that. I thought he was phenomenal against Edinburgh over the weekend, but I just think he needs a couple more good performance, a little bit more experience, and then we sort of bring him in to the Springbok squad maybe next year. Moving into that fly position now, I think Sasha Feinberg Ngumazulu has made this a little bit easier on the selectors by him being out, being injured now. I think it's 12 to 16 weeks, so he won't be available for the November tour, which means we're going to pick 2 fly-offs, Handré Pollard and Manie Lebok. Obviously, Jordan Hendrickse is there. I would be surprised if they added him into this squad. I think if it's a bigger squad, if it's a 38, 39 man squad, then Jordan Hendrickse definitely gets in. I just don't know if they see him as a 10 or if they see him as a 15 or a 12 or a utility back. I think you could potentially argue that Jordan Hendrickse could come on as a utility back into the squad. I think he's going to be in a Springbok team in the near future. I just don't know if it's going to be now in November. Then into the centers, 4 centers, and I'll tell you why I'm picking 4 centers and not 5. I think we need a couple of utility backs. Instead of 1, I think we're going to have 2, which means that we're going to have to pick 4 centers, which is Damien Delende, Jesse Creel, Lukanya Am, and Andre Esterhuis, and I think that's pretty nailed on. Obviously, you've got the likes of Ethan Hooker that could slot in there. Lorenzo Julius was phenomenal over the weekend. So there are options if Rassie Erasmus wants to bring in some youngsters, and again, maybe he does do a 38-man squad just so that he can bring these youngsters in to get sort of that experience. But I'm going off a 33-man team, and those are my 4 centers. Then into the wings, and I think there's a couple of interesting options here. Obviously, Cheslin Colby and Curtly Arendse will be in. We get to pick 2 more wings. Do we pick Kane Moody as a wing? He's been playing 13 for the Bulls, and Jake White has come out and said that he wants to keep playing Kane Moody in that 13 position because that's where he sees him. They want to fast track his development in that position. So it would be interesting if Rassie Erasmus plays him at wing. We saw him play wing against the All Blacks and he kind of looked a little bit lost in that game. So I'm going to go Cheslin Kirkley Arendse. I'm going to go Edwil van der Merwe because he's fit. He's absolutely roaring for the Lions. When he made his debut for the Springboks, he was absolutely phenomenal. So I think he definitely gets in. And then Makazole Mapimpi is my fourth wing. We then move over into the fullbacks, and I think there's only two guys to do the job at the moment, Willie le Roux and Apelele Fassi. Fassi, one of the finds of this season. Willie le Roux proved over the weekend against Ulster that he does still have what it takes, and he's going to be eager to get his 100th cap this year. I wonder if they're going to play him in all three just so that he can get it this year, or if Rassie Erasmus is going to make him wait another year for the next Springbok season. A lot of you guys are going to be asking me, where's Damian Willemse, where's Kane Moody? Well, there's still two spots in this team for utility backs, and I think Sasha Feinberg Ngumazulu's injury is sort of a silver lining for Damian Willemse, because we're asking, where does Damian fit back into this into the Springbok setup? Is he going to play fly-off? Probably not. Inside centre? Probably not. So his best position is probably 15. Sasha was the utility back. I know he played fly-off and started fly-off, but he was the utility back for the Springboks, and I think that's the position that Damian Willemse is going to fill on this tour. We saw him just win man of the match for the Stormers against Zebra. So I think Damian Willemse will go over as a utility back. He might be playing in that 23 jersey for a couple of games. Whether he plays 15, 10, 12, it doesn't really matter, but he will be in the squad, and I do think they're going to take Kane Moody as the second utility back, which then rounds off that 33-man Springbok side for the November tour. I'm very, very excited for this November tour to see what we can do. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Drop your opinions, leave this video a like, and as always, that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.